All right, welcome everyone to the first round of our Division 2 championship in Season 11 of Zoom Racing League. We are here for the first round in Canada. It is not 2023, it is 2024, and it's our first race on this game for Division 2. We are looking at clear skies for full qualifying tonight, and then I'm not sure what the race holds, but whatever it is, we will be ready to commentate it for you. We got 2.71 miles of racing action, 14 turns, and 3 DRS zones, only 2 detection zones, but that should make it a bit spicy for overtaking in the race. And let me bring you to the track here. Full qualifying, as I mentioned. Let me bring back Magnuson Cube real quick. He is in the booth with me. I'm not sure if he's present at the moment, but if he is, he'll come back when he's ready. Get some info ready. Looks to be all good, but yes, full qualifying. 18-minute Q1, 15-minute Q2, and I believe it's 12-minute Q3. As it goes, bottom 5 of each session will get eliminated except for Q3. That is a top 10 shootout. 4 grid position. We got plenty of cars going. We got the 2 McLarens already ready for a lap. It looks like the 2 McLarens might have given each other a tow. Zuck's giving Luke a tow at that point. The F1 cars finally sound like F1 cars here on broadcast mode. That's a nice improvement from the last game. But yes, the McLaren going through Sector 1, that's a 19.7 on the soft tires, so straight out on the soft tire, no intermediate runs, just straight up qualifying action here. I will just confirm that it is full qualifying. Yes, it is. Sometimes we get the lobby settings messed up and it won't be full qualifying, but we have not done so here. McLaren going towards the hairpin, not a very popular overtaking spot, but definitely a place where you can get it done if you get a good run out of this. Well, I guess it's the third chicane. So 2 DRS zones. This is, or 3 DRS zones. This is the second one of them. Then through the wall of champion chicane we go, and that will bring us on to one last DRS straight here. And the McLaren is going to cross the line soon to be our first completed hot lap of the qualifying session. It's a 1:10.983 from Red Panda Pigeon Slayer. We all know him as Luke, my fellow commentator from last season. I believe Magnuson Cube has returned, so welcome Magnuson Cube.
We're here again. I'm ready. I'm doing a bunch of off-topic stuff that I will not be describing in a minute, but I'll be ready to commentate in a short little while.
Alright, I'll keep us going until then. It looks like there's actually a little bit of an issue with the stream, so thank you Labib for telling me. Let's see. Shouldn't be any issues, but I guess there is. Alright, we'll go into a brief intermission while I can sort this out here. Sorry about that, folks.
What's going on, brother?
Alright, ladies and gents, we have finally solved it. There is a little bit of shenanigans involved, but we have finally got game capture here. So, Q1. We are here in Canada. Giorgio, a new name in Zoom Racing League, is fastest so far. 110.2 for him. Joel Garan, a familiar name, is in P2. He's the top of a McLaren sandwich with McGrath in the middle. Let's talk about some names on the board here, and one of them just came out of the pits. That is not Logan PSQ, but it is his teammate and former Ferrari team principal, Peter Giordano. What a return from the Italian man, and he's ready to come back racing. So, we're expecting to have some good pace from him. In the draft, one was very confident of him, so we'll see. But we got J Street, who's returning from last season. He did pretty well last season. So other than that, we got Logan PSQ. We all know him at this point. Rage, we know, didn't really show up too much last season, but that's all right. We got Mac here. Let's see here. Mac in the Alpine with teammate Spanini, also very popular here. Got Chonk. We got Combined in the two Mercedes. Got some new names in the Haas, Sudsy, Marmot, and Man in the Box. And Chonk in the other Mercedes too. I think I mentioned that though. But let's try and find a hot lap. I believe Joel Garan is just starting his hot lap. So in the McLaren team principal, I believe. Here he is. Going through sector 1, we saw 17.7 from, or 19.7 from someone earlier, but Joel has gone much faster than that. He's 2 and a bit tenths up right now. 19.4 through the first sector. Then the second sector, not really too much. It's 2 chicanes and 1 straight, and then 1 smaller straight. Spinini first into the 109s, 109.971.0. And the McLaren going quite quickly, 4/10 up. This looks like it could be another lap into the 109s. And we're ready to go. So down to the wall of Champion Chicane. This is the first time you're seeing it because last time you had a black screen. So on the battery hard, it looks like he had a bit of a moment on the exit of the wall of champions. And across the line though, it's going to be good enough for P1. Only about 4/100th of a second in front of Spinini. Meanwhile, man in the box in the Haas. Good lap for P4 right now. We'll see how that ends up turning out at the end of the section. We have a Ferrari around. Is that Peter Giordano? No, it's not, but it is Logan PSQ joining the circuit. Let's go on board with Peter Giordano for his first lap since, I don't know, it must be around a year and a half ago from his, okay, well, he finished his lap. It's a 1:08.9. Very good lap for him. That is D1 pace right there, so we could see a walk-away win from Peter already, but that's alright. At least he's back. No, multiple drivers in Division 1 didn't break into the 108s in Q3 even last night, so very good lap from the Ferrari driver. Little bit of foreshadowing, but of course Logan is going to be the faster Ferrari. We all know. I'm just joshing. But here we go. Chonk on a lap right now through the first sector. Going into this tricky chicane. Don't want to take too much curb on the right because it will unsettle the car. And definitely don't want to hit the wall on the exit as he did. Braking late. Want to take a lot of this inside curb. Not like that. And you want to keep it kind of straight through the exit of that corner. Not really going through any of my guidelines for going around this track at all. He's not following any of them, but here we go. Through the chicane, taking decent amount of curb, then the hairpin. Very easy to lock up these 2024 cars here. Heard a little bit of locking up, but shouldn't cost him too much. First lap out of first gear. A little bit of wheel spin on that chicane, or the hairpin there. Then bolting down the big old straight in sector 3. He's going to go through the wall champion chicane. Missing the inside curb a little bit, but not missing the second one. There we go, across the line, good for P11. Remember, bottom 5 get eliminated, but we only have 18 in the session, so it will be P18, P17, and P16 that will get eliminated here. Logan PSQ is going to try and match his Ferrari teammate, which is going to be a struggle with the fast lap time that was set, but trying to get out of this kind of danger zone. Also have T-Nell, a former D1 driver, apparently too slow for Division 1 this season, so racing in Division 2. Go on board with this bright green car here. Braking pretty good. Want to get across that curb on the left side here and get the power on very quickly. Had a little bit of a twitch on the exit though. Down into the next chicane. Want to take a bit of curb on the right and a bit on the left and keep it flat to the floor. Keep it tight to this right side wall and then brake late here. Get all over that curb and then all over the right too, and then straighten the car out and go down the straight. Avoid the car on the right. And then take a nice line into this tricky chicane, cut the right hand side curb and go over the left. There you go, on the battery, because we can now manage our battery here in F124. Braking late into this hairpin, not too much locking up at all. Gives him a good enough exit here. Pretty decent lap time from Tino so far. Want to leave about 12% battery before you take it off on that straight and then use all of it down the straight. So you will have enough down to the line, and down to the line for T-Nil, it's going to be a 1:10.2 for him, so good lap from the Alfa Romeo team principal. Alfa Romeo, I don't really want to call it Kick, Stake, Sauber F1 team, but I'll do my best to call it Sauber, because it's not Alfa Romeo anymore. To be fair, I can't even remember which one the real broadcasters call it. I don't think they call it Stake. Or do they call it Stake? No, I think they just call it Sauber, so I'm going to stick to that. A couple of our front runners retiring from the session now. That's valid to do so, I would say. Logan went up to 6th with his lap, so good showing from him. Ferrari 1 and 6 so far. But yeah, Peter Giordano, I mean, he did not come to mess around here. Eruption was very confident in his abilities at the draft. It was said that, I can't remember who it is, but someone else was meant to be the fastest driver. Whoever that was. But they were meant to be the fastest driver, and Marcel said, well, actually, I don't think so. I'm going to take the real fastest driver. And he took Peter Giordano, so that shows the confidence there. Some full qualifying action here in Canada. We got lots of yellow flags. Last night we only had one safety car, but that doesn't mean that more could happen here tonight, so we will see. But yeah, lots of the top contenders retiring from the session now. Peter Giordano could well retire from the session. He is quite comfortable. But do not worry, you can retire from the session if you're safe here, and it won't disqualify you from the next. That just means that you will no longer be able to race in this session. Combined YouTuber, very quick driver in the Mercedes. We know of Combined YouTuber's abilities. Hasn't really broken into Division 1 for a good long time now, but always a very familiar name in Division 2. So onto the battery, he's going to try and prove himself, and he does to P6. So good lap from him. Rage pretty much stopped on the straight with the battery on. I really don't know what he's trying to do. But, well, he won't be using those soft tires in the race whatsoever. I don't think he'll ever be able to use them again after that. But we'll see. Chonk no longer on a lap. Currently P14 though, so he might have a little bit of an issue if Sudsy Marmot here in the Haas can make it through. And going across the line, hoping for an improvement, and he does get it. So P13 for him. J Street was the one knocked out, and P16 for him. Chonk barely through, but 2/10 clear of the next time down on the board. So you could say he's safe. But yeah, here is your order for the end of Q1. Peter Giordano takes P1, and Mac is the top of an Alpine sandwich with Joel in top and Spinini on the bottom. Giorgio, new name here for the V-Carb team, P5, and then Combined YouTuber P6, Logan P7, T-Nil P8, then Man in the Box is P9, Nadewell is P10, Rage P11, Rigraph P12, and then it's Sudsy Marmot, Luke, as we know him, Chonk, and then eliminated are J Street, Slit Goku, and Florida. So ready to start Q2 very shortly here. Got another ping on Discord. I hope that doesn't mean something's wrong with the stream, because that would be no bueno. It's just Magnuson Cube letting me know that he'll be done soon with whatever it is he's doing, and he'll be with us soon. So, that is fun. The man whose home is in Canada, I think, he'll be there to take us through the race. So, normally the strategy in full qualifying is as so: 2 at most runs in Q1, and then 1 used run and 1 new run in Q2, and then most people will have 2 new soft tires for Q3. So, we'll see. Luke is ready to go. I mean, straight out, and those do look to be old soft tires, so as expected. I believe that's Georgie. No, that's Rage in the Red Bull. Those also look like used tires, and then we have Joel. I can't see what his tires are yet. Look to be used as well. So, yeah, about as expected for all of our drivers. Intermediates even for Georgie. Let me run tire telemetry mode here. Then it looks like an Alpine is coming out, that it's Mac. Also old tires. So, yep, this is running as expected. Regraph, another familiar name, out on track. Now in an Aston Martin. It feels like he's been at Ferrari forever, but now we're in the Aston. Let's go on board with the Red Bull of Rage for the first hot lap, at least that I'm recording, in Q3, or Q2. Ooh, very big moment with those used tires out of turn 2. I mean, easy to get a moment out of there. It's very difficult on the traction, but through this section of corners is relatively easy. Just want to make sure you don't bottom out on the curbs. Then over this curb as hard as you can, and not like that. Really not like that. If you do take it a bit weird, then it will flick the car around pretty heavily. But that's alright. I mean, the Red Bull, he's going to be fine. No teammate tonight, or at least not one in Q2. But that's kind of the difference between soft tires that are new and soft tires that are used. Like, they wear very quickly, and they heat up quicker as they wear out, or at least I've found that that happens. And it really gets tricky running on used tires in qualifying, because you can't really push the car as much as you'd like to. Even though you got the red sidewalled tires, you just think you have the grip, but you don't. So Luke goes P1, and then Georgie, no, that's not Georgie, that's Rage coming down the back straight now. Looks like he's got enough fuel to go for it again on even more used tires now. So, I don't know, whoa, okay. Braking very late, missing both apexes, and then slamming the throttle down. 1:10.6 from Joel on his used tires, going past his teammate. Validation for Rage here on this lap, so I would just bring it back into the pits, honestly. Looks like Georgie, oh yeah, he was on inters. So Mac goes P1 with a 109.9 on his used tires. And then Rigraff is going to be our next driver to go across the line. And across the line he goes in P3, 1:10.65. So not too bad. He's behind Joel right now. Nadewell is just starting his lap. I don't know if these are used or new tires, but he's driving the car like they're new tires. So let's take a look at what he can do. Braking pretty late. I like the speed that I'm seeing from Nadewell so far here. 19.5. Then into the first DRS straight, if you want to count it as the first. Not using a lot of battery. You kind of want to be at the 50% mark when you come out of this chicane here, then dump it down a little bit before the hairpin. Purple sector 2 though, I guess maybe I don't know what I'm talking about and he's just going quick. And then you want to dump it kind of down to the 12% range with the battery, because that will give you just enough to push it across the line with the remaining amount of battery. Very tricky wall champion chicane. It's known for that for many different reasons. I don't think this was the main reason it was known for when the name was thought of, but lots of champions have collided with that wall, dating all the way back to people like Michael Schumacher, so it really catches out the greatest of the greats. Combined YouTuber wasn't caught out by the wall of champions, but it looks like he's going to be just starting a lap actually. Not really taking too much curb on the left, but traveling nicely through until he had a bit of a moment. Then down to the chicane. Not carrying a whole lot of speed, but we'll see. What's it going to be? A 19.9 through the first sector, so 4/10 slower than I believe it was Nadewell who I was going off next, or first. But here we go. Using a bit more battery than Nadewell was, so could be a better lap, but we'll see. Combined YouTuber, of course, we all know him by now. Going through the hairpin. And yeah, Combined's always been kind of that midfield D2 kind of range. Like, you'll always see him scoring P6s, P5s, P4s, P3s if he's lucky, so I expect to see something just like that. Taking good amounts of curb through there. It always does look like they have a little bit of a twitch going through the final corner. It's a 1:10.8 for him on used tires, so a little bit behind his rivals, but that's alright. Georgie was pretty quick in Q1, so I'm excited to see what he can do in Q2. Using lots of the battery down the straight here, and then bringing it all the way down to 4th gear. Then we'll dump the rest of the battery out of the final corner, and down the straight he goes. Want to keep tight to the right. It's a 1:10.4, good enough for 4th. Peter Giordano is about to go out on a lap, and Sudzi Marmot just did a lap. I don't know if those tires were used or new, but if they were used, then good on him. If they were new, then good on him as well. Spinini P1 with the time pretty similar to what he did in Q1, I believe, so good on him. And here is Peter Giordano ready to start his lap. I will admit it, he is faster than me, at least at this track, and he is coming to win here. Looks decently quick through the first sector. Wow, getting very close to the wall. That just shows you how much he's pushing. Definitely flinging the car around a lot, using good amounts of battery through the lap, and then through this chicane, keeping a very high minimum speed onto the battery. Peter Giordano is traveling quickly. 41.3 as he crosses the Sector 2 checkpoint, and through the hairpin he goes. He may end up going pretty quick. It looks like it could be P1 on used tires. Anything under 109.5 on used tires would be pretty impressive. So we'll see what he can do. Opting to stay in 5th gear through the chicane, where many others would go into 4th. And that might have made the difference. So, P1 for Peter Giordano. I'm not sure if Spinini's lap was on new tires, but if it was, then Peter Giordano just put him to shame. The other Ferrari of Logan went P6 on his used tires, so good for him. Haas currently P7 and P10. Of course, I have to mention it because I'm a Haas driver now. And Joel going on for his second lap, on with the battery, and down to the line he'll go. So new tires for Joel. On old tires he got a 1:10.3. What kind of improvement could we see from the McLaren now? good speed through the first sector. He's 2/10 up on his previous time. Could be a good lap, but he does invalidate, so that might be a little bit dangerous right now for him. He's got 4 and a bit minutes left. He's gonna, whoa, okay. He might have wing damage now. Looks like that thing's fully intact, but definitely pushing the car to get back to the pits. That won't be nice to his tires whatsoever. So he'll have to hope that the people behind him don't start going faster. Meanwhile, Peter has saved lots of tires. He's saved probably 2 sets of soft tires that he could use in Q3, so I expect big things from him. But we are ready to go. Red Panda Pigeon Slayer, also known as Luke, is off the battery. I'm not really sure why he's off the battery. Maybe this just isn't his hot lap, but we'll see. Unless this is a McLaren thing and they're trying to do some kind of installation lap. Meanwhile, Chonk is out on track. I'm just going to see what the McLaren does here. It looks like he's going to be coming back into the pits, but I could be wrong. It's actually onto the battery now, so this is the start of the final hot lap for Red Panda Pigeon Slayer, Luke. And he needs a decent improvement of at least 2/10 to get back into the top 10. We'll see what he can do. In the meantime, Joel is coming out of the pits, so I wonder what he did. Did he put on new tires? We'll have to see. Normally the new tires have that kind of gleam to them. We'll see if we can spot that on this set. Well, I can't, so they may be used tires for Joel. About 2/10 up for Red Panda Pigeon Slayer. That's what he needs. That's what he needs to get through. And he's done just that, so hopefully he can go a bit faster through the second sector, really secure himself. He's gone 6/10 quicker, so he could be into the 109s here. Going all the way down the straight now. He's used a good amount of battery throughout his lap, so we'll see what he can end up doing. It's going to be across the line for Red Panda, and he's going to go P5, so I think he's quite safe where he is right now. Something to note, both of the Mercedes, including Chonk, who has just invalidated his lap, they are in the bottom 5, so Chonk really needs to get on with it, charge his battery, and go for one more run, or he will be out and in P15. My YouTuber has the same thing to say about himself, so hopefully he can improve out of the top, or the bottom 5, I should say. Man in the box has just dropped down to P11, so he's going to have to hope that he can improve at least a 10th to get through to Q3. He was P13 in Q1, so it could be an exit for him. If not, then absolutely good job for the two Haas drivers. And there he goes. There's Williams pretty much stopped. That's Nadewell on the back straight. Just had to let other people through before doing his lap. Sacrifices a bit of speed on the exit, but I think he'll be fine. Currently P3 right now. I think he will be doing just fine. And meanwhile, the McLaren of Joel Garan has one last thing to do. P9 right now. Has he improved enough to make it away from the danger zone? He has. He's gone P2, so that is a good lap for him. Georgie goes faster than Peter Giordano. That being said, Peter was on used tires, but it is what it is. Logan will be the last one to start a hot lap here, but he's invalidated. He got a this in the next lap invalidation, so he might be in big trouble. Sudsy Marmot is out of qualifying because he's invalidated. Rage retires in P10. Man in the box is going to be the only Haas with a chance of getting into the top 10 shootout. Can he do that? Looks like an okay lap for Man in the box. So going across the line, what's it going to be? It's going to be good for P5, so I think he's well safe. Chonk is out of qualifying, so is combined P14 and P15 for the two Mercedes. P11 currently T-Nell still going about his lap, but it looks like he's backed out, so he will be out of qualifying. That is your bottom five. T-Nell, Sudsy Marmot, Rigraf, Combined YouTuber, and Chonk are all out of qualifying. They will not make it to the top 10 shootout. Mac went fastest, Georgie went second fastest, Pete went third fastest, but on used tires. That's going to be a big talking point. Then Joel Guron went P4. Nadewell P5, Spanini P6, Man in the Box P7, Red Panda Pigeon Slayer Luke has gone P8, and then Logan P9 and Rage P10. Don't know what happened on T-Nail's lap because he didn't invalidate, but he must have just had a big moment that he decided, no, this lap's not good enough, I'm not making it through, and he backed out of it. This is interesting. So, as you can see, only bottom 5 get knocked out, so not including P10. But it does give me the graphic that Rage has been knocked out. And he's actually gone and done a faster time than Logan, but is reading as P10 behind Logan. Some shenanigans going on with the F1 game. I don't know what that could be. But yeah. So it looks like it'll be a comfortable pole position for Peter so far. His only run on new tires, which was in Q1, is 0.3 faster than the fastest run in Q2. So, what there is to be said about that, there's plenty. Take a look at that though. Both cars for McLaren, Alpine, and Ferrari have all made it through. So good on them. Other than that though, we have the V-Carb team, we got Williams, and we have Haas through. We can hear someone coming out of the garage, and that is going to be the McLaren of Joel Guron. He's ready to get going. 12 more minutes of qualifying, and then we will be good to go. See a Ferrari pit crew in the background, sending out Peter Giordano for his next lap. I'm going to assume that's on new tires. Now the McLaren heading out, as well as the Alpine of Spanini. Here we go. I don't know if there's like a new tire kind of shine to them anymore. I think I can just barely see it, if there is one. So Peter Giordano appears to be on new tires. We'll take a look around. These look to be used tires for Joel, same as on Luke. Georgie hasn't gone out yet. Spanini has though. Those look to be newish tires. Could be wrong though. Do not take my word for it. Here we got Joel really working the car to warm his tires here. That is the tricky part about this game, is that the tires just do not heat up unless you're going super quickly and weaving super hard. And here we go for Joel Guron here. Breaking late into turn 1, taking all that curb on the left side. A little bit of a snap, it looked like, through the exit of turn 1. Didn't really help him for turn 2 at all. Had to get it all the way down into first gear. Taking decent speed, hitting the wall with the right-hand side of the car. No damage though. Taking lots of curb on the left side and getting a little twitch on the exit there because he touched the curb on the right side. Just didn't really help him out a lot. Then he'll be braking late here. Third gear, a little bit too slow of a gear for me, but that's just my opinion. Through, here we go, it's 41.420. Big lock up into the hairpin. And a twitch on the exit for good measure. Joel will want to improve off of this lap because it's been pretty scruffy so far. Going all the way down to third gear for the final chicane. That is outrageous. And across the line, it's going to be a 109.7 for him. Then next is the other McLaren. Can he beat his teammate Joel Guerin on the first laps of Q3? No, he cannot. Peter Giordano, again on new tires. It's going to be pretty good. It's going to be a 109.1 for Peter Giordano. 6/10 clear of the next driver. Georgie's just starting his lap. But then it's going to be Spanini who's invalidated. Mac is also invalidated. Nadewell just starting a lap. Man in the box following suit. So Georgie might be our next one on a hot lap here. Taking a decent amount of curve, but not really traveling too quickly on the exit of either of those corners. So he'll want to get on with it if he wants a good lap time here. And down to the Wall of Championship chicane he goes. So, wasn't the cleanest of laps in Sector 1 and Sector 2, but hopefully he made up for that in Sector 3. Fourth gear as he powers down to the line, it's going to be, what? It's going to be a 109.5 for Georgie, who's ahead of both McLarens and stays behind the Ferrari of Spanini, or of Peter Giordano, sorry, but also now behind the Alpine of Spanini. That lap was on one lap used tires. Nadewell went P5. A man in the box is going to be next across the line here. Currently P9. And yeah, so Rage got booted from the last session, and man in the box invalidates his lap, but yeah, Rage was P10, and then he retired from the session and just got booted out of Q3. So, unfortunate for him. Now we just wait for the first laps to commence. Once again, Logan is on the hot lap though in his Ferrari. He's been kind of around the P6 range every lap he's done so far. Curious to see what time it is in the session because we already have Peter Giordano going up for another lap. Wow, big correction for the Ferrari driver out of that chicane. Seems to be flying otherwise, though. You know what, the Ferrari's actually behind him on track right now, so what can Logan do? But yeah, it's refreshing to finally hear something that sounds like an F1 car on the outside view now. Doesn't look like it'll be a great lap at all for Logan. It looks like it'll be something in the 13s. 112.9, so not sure what happened on that lap for him. Ferrari teammate Peter Giordano is going to come across him next. Invalidation for him, but does it go away? Yes, it does. I still don't know what time it is in the session because I think that's Luke who's setting off a yellow flag trigger. Just going too slow. 4 minutes left, so Peter really has to start flying away if he wants to get a third lap in. Otherwise, this is a very early final lap for him. But he is cruising. He's taking these corners very quickly, so I think he could be top of D1, but that's just me. Yeah, just about a tenth up. So he's down on his previous time that was set in Q1, which was a 1:08.9, I believe. So we'll see if he can go faster later. And yeah, it looks like he'll have enough time just barely to get a third lap in to 1:08.8, so he made up a lot of time in the final sector there. Logan PSQ, I don't think he's going on another lap, so we'll see. Yeah, the Ferrari needs to book it towards the pit lane, and Logan is actually going to pit too, so that means Peter's going to have to wait for his teammate to get into the pit box. This might be miscommunication or just bad strategy from Ferrari here. Because yeah, it takes about 30 seconds to finally get back into your pit box, and we don't have that much time to be going out for a third lap. At least one of these Ferraris is going to be making it, but I don't think Peter is going to be making it to do his final lap. Luke is going to be the first one out on an out lap, and then Nadewell is going to follow him. But yeah, gotta pay attention to this, because look, the Ferrari is being held up. Peter won't be getting into the pits for a good 30 seconds longer. They could have really messed this one up here. The mechanics are in a rush to lift the second Ferrari up, but I don't think he'll have the time. Gotta continue to watch this as the Ferrari pit crew scramble to get the car on its jacks and back into the garage. But it looks like they had to switch out the jacks even because it wasn't working the first time. Playing a risky game, but I think he'll be safe. If they just put the monitors down, he'll be good to go. 1 minute 30 on the clock. I don't know, he's really pushing it, and I'd have to say at this point, 1 minute 30, he's not going to make it. Because it takes a while to get down the pit lane. Yeah, no, he hasn't made it. Neither of the Ferraris have actually made it, because Logan is still in the pits anyway. And yeah, so both Ferraris have not made it. Good job, boys. And then let's take a look on our first out lap here. Looks like it's actually going to be Mac to do it. Actually, no, Luke is on a hot lap. Here we go. No battery for him though, so must be just doing an install lap. Mac going through the first sector here, not using a lot of battery though, wants to really get on the battery. Or else he's really not pushing the car as fast as it can go. Finally taps it for 1 second. Let's see if Peter cuts the entire chicane. No, he doesn't, but yeah, he's not going to make it. Here comes Mac for his hot lap. Luke only went up to P6 as he spins, so no final hot lap for the McLaren driver. Mac, however, is ready to get his lap on the board. But yeah, Peter has not made it. And Mac going across the line now. What will it be for the Alpine driver? No time set yet, but it's good enough for P2. Good lap from him, man in the box, and P9 currently across the line, good for P7, as times will improve shortly. I think that's actually where he will stay. Joel is going to be the next one across the line, pushing pretty hard, definitely pushing the revs of the engine up as high as they can go. Going to be good for P6 and nothing more. Then Spanini is validated, so Georgie will be the next one with a valid lap time. I don't know, he's shown some pace, but does he have the pace to beat Peter Giordano for pole position? It looked comfortable for the Ferrari driver, but then he missed out and just barely staying outside of the 1:08. But Nadewell is going to be the last one to set a lap, but no, he's not. So here is our order for the top 9, I guess. It's Peter Giordano on pole position, it's Georgie in P2, then it's Mac P3 on top of Nadewell, and then Spanini behind him. Joel is once again the top of a McLaren sandwich with man in the box in the middle and Luke on the bottom. And Logan rounds out our Q3 group. Really not sure what happened to Rage. He was meant to partake in Q3 but just didn't get the chance to. So we'll see. Magnussen Cube might have died. I'm really not sure. Said he had some forms to finish up and it would appear he just died. So we are getting ready to do some racing action. We have 35 laps of Canada ahead of us. We've got some decent strategy moves coming up. Hard tires really don't degrade around here, and mediums do. So it's really off of what do you want to pick first. Do you want to pick the degradation, or do you want to pick the life? That is the question. Here we go. So, we finally look into the pit lane. We don't see the T-posing mechanics anymore. We just see him sitting down, looking at the monitors that are presenting tire data. So, turn the other way and look at the TV, boys. But other than that, we are getting ready to race. Question just sparked in my mind. I wonder if all of the TV screens in the garages are set to F1 TV or Sky Sports. We don't know. Everyone knows Sky Sports is a scam. F1 TV is a good deal. But what do they pay for? We don't know. But anyways, we are getting ready to race. We'll crack open a cold one for the memory of John Ranger, no longer with us, sadly passed away. Just kidding. The lights are getting ready to come out. We missed one light, but we got all 5 on now, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go down to the line. Now it looks like Georgie got a good start. In fact, he's side by side with Peter Giordano going into the first corner. He's ahead of Peter in the first corner. Down the inside goes Peter, though, but it looks like the RB will get ahead of the Ferrari for the time being, and yes, he does. Side by side for P3 and P4. Mac takes P4 away from Mac gets it away, and side by side through the second chicane with man in the box and Red Panda. They're going well so far. Logan's going to try to send it down the inside of the Haas, and he does, but still sticking around the outside. The Haas driver is not messing around whatsoever and keeps his position behind him. Rage, without getting a Q3 appearance, is going to try to take out someone from Q3, and he's going to make the overtake here on the inside of the chicane, pushes the Ferrari wide, and now the Ferrari does have to go wide, bounces off a sausage curb even. Got plenty of cars flying around here. Combined YouTuber is going to try and make a position on the Ferrari as his teammate just did around the outside of the hairpin. It's not going to happen for him unless he gets a good switchback, but he doesn't. Further ahead in the pack, it looks like Spanini dropped back from Luke here, but in front, we might have a battle for the lead here. Peter's getting pretty close, but not close enough. Nadewell was in kind of dive bomb range there, but didn't go for it. Was smarter of it. Peter Giordano is getting closer now, though. Through turn 1, can he make a move happen? We'll see. Doesn't dive down the inside, so he will stay behind for now. Combined YouTuber into the pits. I wonder if there was a little bit of a collision with the Ferrari. There's no front left end plate on that car, so meanwhile we will see. Rigraff and Logan kind of battling it out here in the back of the field. Let's look at our position change detail. And actually, Peter Giordano takes the lead back from Georgie in Sector 1. Very, very weird spot to get space. No one on the DRS right now. 110 separates the two drivers. But yes, DRS enabled after the first lap. Don't forget, folks, that is a new rule in F1 24. Meanwhile, Chonk looks like he's just made up a position here. But we can't see it. There's been an incident in the back. Who is that? That is the Red Bull of Rage. No front wing damage, so I wonder what happened. Was it a collision with another driver? Very easy to lose it through that corner, admittedly, but I don't know if that's what happened or not. Big run for the RB here, and he's going to go down the inside of the wall at Champion Chicane. Peter tries to stick it around the outside, but doesn't get to do so. Actually, yes, he does. He's still side by side on the exit. Now, Nadewell could get the pair of them, but he bumps into the Ferrari. They're too wide for P3, 4, P1, and P2, and now it's all coming together here. Looks like for the lead of the race, Peter Giordano is going to keep it, but meanwhile, in the back, for P3, Nadewell keeps his spot against Mac. Joel is now invited to this little tussle here. Some action we're having in the first little section here. But Peter is slightly pulling away. The DRS will help the RB close back on him. But we will see. Battery percent for Peter is 12% or 19%. And Georgie has got 87%. So that's a big advantage to have early on in the race. It's easy to save your battery in this game, but not if you're trying to lose a lot of time too. You all tussle through the hairpin between Luke and Spanini. Who's got the DRS though? It's going to be the McLaren of Luke here. And side by side we go through the first straight, and it looks like the McLaren will have that move easily done. Does man in the box get interested? Yes, he does. He's going to throw it down the inside. Gets the move done. I feel like he cut that corner there, but that's just my opinion. Meanwhile, in the back, Nadewell getting very close to Georgie. 3-second time penalty already for Logan. That's a big blow for the Ferrari driver, while his other teammate is kind of flourishing here. And big spin for Luke. We just caught that. I have no idea what could have happened to the McLaren driver, but I guess I sensed a disturbance, one would say, in the midfield, and it caught Luke out. Man in the box up into P6. Kind of leading this small DRS train. There's a big DRS train in the front, and then after P6, that's it. And Peter Giordano, he's got a time penalty. Both of the Ferraris just attracting track limits warnings. Yeah, big time. So that's a big time loss for Peter already here. He's about a second clear, but Georgie will get the DRS. There's a stake F1 car back and spinning around in the back. That's J Street. Let's go back to the fight in the front. Georgie closing very quickly. Didn't even look like he dumped his battery, and just, wow, that was a really bad exit for him. So won't be able to do anything into the next corner, but just look at the battery difference here. Let's check our tires here, because hard tires do really well here. Holy crap. In the back we got a big battle between all these fellas, and they make contact. Chonk and Tino make contact, and they are ready to go, and Spanini even gets hit by the Alfa Romeo, the Sauber. And that battle continues. I've just heard something, and that lets me know that Magnussen Cube has returned. So welcome, Magnussen Cube. Here's our racing action.
After a couple of hours of work, a pretty interesting grid. Peter Giordano in his first race back at Ferrari, leading the Canadian Grand Prix, followed by Giorgio 915, who is a rookie in Division 2. Fun fact, I got him into this lead. And D2 reserve Nadewell is in third place. One interesting fact about this race, and many of the races on tracks where we will see the softest compounds, the C3, C4, and the C5. When we go to Hungary next week or Azerbaijan in the middle of August, you will see the hard tires, the C3, having extremely low tire wear. This is because at 95% of circuits, well, barring Suzuka and Lusail, that means the C3 is the best tire and will not degrade at all. Fun fact, if you've ever done a race sim or a career mode race around Baku on this game, tire wear is so low on both the mediums and the hards, you can go to the end of the race on either compound. There is your bit of pointless tire management as Giorgio 915 went up the inside of Peter Giordano, but couldn't get the move done. And already, Nathan, 6 laps into this race, we have 2 drivers with time penalties. Now make that 3. Those who can keep their cars off the white line will have a huge advantage here. This race is decided on penalties, as they say.
Yes, it is, and just another person with the time penalty is Panini. Because I could have been on track for a podium last night because someone in front of me had a time penalty and I wasn't even close to them. I was just around 3 seconds, but that would have made the difference between a podium and not. So that is how big it gets towards the end of the race, and it's going to be a big deal for Peter Giordano as he has a bit of a wiggle out of the final corner, but he has a time penalty and he could lose the race win because of this. And in fact, he could drop all the way down to P5 with the likes of Joel Guron still within that 3-second gap of him. So we will continue on here. We have 2 DRS trains, as I have mentioned. The second one appears to have a little bit of action going on, but not too much of anything going on. The 2 Haas making some improvement on the grid position. Let's take a look at our position changes again. But our big winners so far are Chonk and Tino and Slick Goku, who I forgot to even mention this entire time because I haven't really seen him do anything. But starting P17, he's gotten P12, and he will continue on. Let's look at the front again. Go ahead.
Interesting race. The biggest winner is Chonk in the Mercedes, going up 7 places. And again, another car with penalties. His teammate, on the other hand, combined YouTuber, is one of the biggest losers. He had a terrible qualifying, especially for someone who was the Division 2 pace test topper. Keep that in mind. And he's going to be spending a bit of a lonely race at the back of the field as things stand. But, and make that a 5th car with time penalties, Joel Guron is now on the books. The next biggest winner is Slick Goku, another one of my drivers, believe it or not. Gonna get the V-car prop. And the biggest loser out of all of this is actually Red Panda. He started 8th on the grid, according to the position changes. He is down in 13th, behind Logan, who's lost 9 places in total. Lots of position changes in this Grand Prix, so things are moving pretty quickly. And this is that stage of the race where the hard tires become much, much faster than those mediums. But remember, those medium runners will be at a massive advantage. They will have a big undercut onto the hards, and the hard tires will have to fit on that medium, which, even in D1, wasn't the best race tire. It struggled a lot after the first 6-7 laps. So we could see a lot of overtaking and a lot of action through the field in the mid-stage of this race due to the position changes caused by the tires. 3 of the top 4 cars on the medium, so it's still not quite Hard's territory just yet, but we don't have that many on the Hard. Those who are on the Hard will be hoping for a lucky safety car to pull away from the people on the Hards when they pit. And those hard runners, when they pit, they will be on to the medium tire. Interesting bit of strategy here in Montreal. It's not normally known as a low tire track, but this year with the new tire model, unfortunately, the soft medium strategy has gone out of the window. The soft tire, at least when I practiced on it, could only muster up about 7-8 laps at best.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Nadewell had a big moment out of that chicane there and lost the position because of his tap with the wall. And now we have a hard runner in P2. So yes, like you said, we're not there yet. We might be now. But that little bit of time between the 9th and probably the 15th lap before that undercut starts to happen with the medium tire runners, the hards go into another world of just superiority. Like the tire degradation, I believe it was half of what the mediums were at least that's what BMF said last night. But even the fronts on the hard tires, they degrade very, very slowly, about 1.5% per lap on this track. So very, very low degradation for the hard tires. So Mac may well take the lead of the race before the pit stops begin, but like you said, that big undercut that the medium tires will have is very, very crucial. Yeah, but like you said, with the safety car, you want to note that that's kind of the big thing with strategy this game, is just the degradation on the hard tires. It's very, very low. but then they have to go into the medium tires towards the midway point of the race, so it kind of balances itself out. So here we go for the lead of the race. 3/10 is the gap right now going into the hairpin. We know who has the better tires, and you can just see it on the exit. Barely lost any time, the Alpine driver, to Peter Giordano. He's going to have the rear wing open, and he's going to have the lead of this race by the end of this straight. He goes onto the battery, barely needs it, but he takes it. And the P1 goes to Max so far. And Peter
another penalty.
Yeah, go ahead.
Another penalty. Now we're into that stage of the hard tire being the race tire. Just remember that undercut from the medium to the hard, it can happen now. Someone like Giorgio or Peter, they can pit themselves in the next 2-3 laps and get out ahead with a massive lead. And Mac, for example, can go extremely long on that hard tire, up to lap 23, 24. In Division 1, as Mac had a bit of a moment through turn 6, Patonis and Kai Guo went 22 laps, and we have yellow flags in the final sector as Ray just spun off.
Yeah, no, I actually caught that all on camera. So he completely missed the final chicane, and then when he tried to rejoin, he wanted to go to the left side of that little arrow that puts the track limits kind of thing there, and he just slammed into the wall. No wing damage for him, but definitely did bring out the yellow flag. So continue what you're saying. That's all the drama that we have right now.
It's going to be an interesting next few laps, for especially those starting on the hards. They have to set in qualifying laps to keep the pace and to potentially even have a chance of getting the win, because that medium tire, as has been mentioned a billion times, has been a terrible race tire. It's been quick in the first 4 laps, and then its pace has dropped off from there. This, again, will be a phenomenon at every single C3, C4, C5 track. The C1 and the C3 are the race tire. The C1, C2, and the C3 at most circuits are the race tires of choice. The C4 and the C5 are terrible, especially the C5, which hasn't been seen in D1, which wasn't seen last night, except for the safety car. And even then, I didn't use it at all because I just knew that a medium tire that's 3 laps old versus a soft tire that's 3 laps old, the medium tire is just as fast, if not faster. Yes, it's a 72nd lap. Yes, tire wear is extremely low on this circuit, but that doesn't change the way the tires wear. The softs wear terribly, the softs are grade terribly, the mediums are sort of a middle ground, and the hards are bricks. And we have another spinner at turn 4. It's Florida.
Yeah, I'm checking for wing damage, and there doesn't look to be any. Actually, yes, the front left end plate is gone. Meanwhile, we have some pitters. We have Nadewell into the pits, and we also have Georgie into the pit. So this is where that undercut comes into play. They're going to have lots of time on tires that don't degrade to catch up to the people who are currently running the hard tires. While I was going through my race, I started on the hard tires. I really started to think like, oh man, these people could really undercut me, because I still gotta make the length of my stint on my hard tires. I still gotta go a pretty decent ways before I come into pit, or else the mediums are gonna degrade quicker than I'll be able to catch up. But that's just the dilemma that you have from starting on the hard tires. Chonk with another penalty. But yeah, it's gonna get tricky. Georgie gets a time penalty. We just saw him cut over the curb. We saw that happen in live action 4K TV. For the lead of the race, though, Peter's done a good job of keeping his tires into play with the DRS, and he's brought back his battery a little bit now. Nadewell gets past. We got a little bit of a scuffle here, actually. The Haas goes off the track as Nadewell overtakes him on his new hard tires. Georgie is going to be the next one to do so, although he's pretty far behind here. So the Haas is kind of getting into a bit of a tussle here as, oh my goodness, Peter's gotten a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he can't serve it there. So that's going to be a huge penalty on him. I mean, he's already got 6 seconds, make it 16 seconds. So, I mean, what's your opinion on that? How much is that going to really take him out, as Sati Marmot gets one as well?
It's effectively race over. There's a safety car. It's race over. He has to serve the 10-second. I'd say, unless he pulls out a Michael Schumacher Hungary 1998 race stint of 22 qualifying laps and wins by over 16 seconds, his race is done for. He doesn't have a chance. And as we see, a couple of cars, a bit of action toward the back of the field. Combined YouTuber, for one, struggling a lot down at 14th place, getting stuck behind Sutsi Marmot and a lot of other people. He is on 12 lap mediums. And another penalty for Giorgio, putting him up to 6 seconds. Combined YouTuber at Montreal, it's never been a strong track for him. I'd say it's been one of his weakest tracks ever since I started racing him. Last season, he qualified 14th for AlphaTauri. He finished 6th thanks to some good penalty avoidance, but the season's race for the Australian is looking like a bit of a disaster, really. He was picked first in Division 2, and look where he is. That's... And I don't know what happened because I wasn't actually on the commentator booth at the time. And Nathan, could you tell us what happened to Combine?
Combined YouTuber, I think that was just kind of a skill issue. Both Mercedes were out in Q2. They were 14th and 15th as Combine actually goes off the track in the final chicane and cuts over the sausage curbs. But no, nothing big happened during the race. It was just a bad qualifying from both of the Mercedes drivers. So we have another caution towards Sector 2. Doesn't look like it's anything big. But yeah, Combined YouTuber just hasn't been able to get it working, and he's the last one to be on the medium tire, so he's only going to get slower here. He's got J Street behind him now, and even on his 14-lap hard tires, he's still catching the Mercedes very quickly.
Yeah, it's the tire differential, and Mercedes this season, well, if the calendar was Austria, China, and Portimao combined, would absolutely dominate, as we have another yellow. Rage spinning around a turn 2, and back to Combined. A tough day for him today. He needs more than a safety car. He needs God to help him out on that medium tire. That medium tire is only getting slower and slower and slower as this race progresses. So unless there's a safety car, it's game over. I'm sorry, but it's game over. And another Logan, or no, it's Peter Giordano. Yeah, he spun.
Wing damage maybe for him? No. But big spin for being in something that looked like a race-winning position. He's almost completely out of the points now, I have to imagine, with his penalties. And with that spin, it's just no bueno for Peter Giordano at this point. But still, we need to talk about the pace a little bit. So, yeah, like you said, Combined YouTuber picked first. And he was said to be, well, he topped the pace test there. But then Eruption came back so confident for the second pick of the draft. He said that Peter is the fastest man that Division 2 will see for quite some time. And he looked right until the race came around and Peter just kind of started losing it. So hopefully he can make these hard tires work. We know that they're easy to work around, but with the penalties and with that spin he just had, it's going to be very, very tricky to get a good result for him.
I think Peter Giordano at this point should focus more on avoiding penalties. He is currently in a net 9th place, which wouldn't be too terrible, but for someone who's picked second in the draft, it is a bit of an underperformance in the position. It's a bit of an underperformance, right? You don't normally see the lead Ferrari down in 9th, 10th, as we have another yellow. It is Florida spinning around at turn 6.
We have another one too. I think that was for an RB car.
That was... Oh, there's a yellow. There's a yellow.
Yeah, that's a Williams again. It's not Nadewell.
It's Florida.
Yeah, not a good race for him at all.
No. It's a bit of a game over situation for many at the back of the field, I think.
Yeah. Something we should focus on is that our top 3 have still not pitted yet. So with the pit lane, I can't remember how long it is. It's what, like 17, 19 seconds long?
About 15, 16 seconds. Interestingly, those starting on the hards are still going to get caught regardless of pace. Peter Giordano sets the fastest lap of 1:10.9 as Ahmed Abdullahi / T-Nell comes out in a potential P7. It's going to be P7 for him. A lot of work to be done. If he wants a P6 on the medium tire, he has to get past Spanini pretty quickly. And Nathan, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the issue that you face being a hard tire runner. You gain so much time in the first part of your stint, but once those medium tire runners hit for the hard tires, you're only at a huge disadvantage. So that's the dilemma you have to face, because you still got to warm these mediums up a little bit, and after 4 laps or so, you won't have a lot of pace. So I think the better bet is just to start on the medium tires and tank all that degradation while you can still keep the hard tire runners behind. Meanwhile, our leader pits Mac into the pits for the medium tires. Does Zux follow him through? No, he doesn't. Jolgron is going to be the last one to stay out, other than J Street, who I believe actually pit like on the second lap. So here we go. Peter Giordano is back up into third, and Nadewell is well ahead of him on his tires. So Nadewell looks to be the race leader, the net race leader for now.
Yeah, it's Nadewell easily in the lead. All the people on the medium who started on the medium have pitted. Combined YouTuber dives into the pits. Must be a frustrating outing for the Mercedes driver. Picked first in the draft, and he is anywhere but first at the minute. Maybe things go better in this second stint. And the same could go for Chonk, who isn't doing great either. A yellow flag at the final chicane is Logan PSQ. He's spun around and he is recovered back on the circuit. He'll drop to 17th place.
Yeah, nearly rejoined into the Red Bull again. Both of those drivers not really having a good race. I mean, you think Red Bull and Ferrari, you think front runners, but no, P16 and P17. I mean, you even got a Mercedes down there in P15. Meanwhile, at the front, though, Mac has gotten past Georgie on his medium tires. He's making them work, but for having led a race the first lap, or a couple laps ago, he's already 3 seconds behind who he needs to catch up to. So we got plenty of different teams. In fact, we have 5 different teams in the top 5, so no one is going to be helping each other out in this little section. The medium tires, they're going to have to get up to that point. They're going to have to be used super quickly in these next couple of laps, or else Mac's advantage will go pretty much out the window.
Yeah, it's going to go out the window pretty soon. In fact, only 4 more laps, but those 4 laps are going to be crucial because you can still catch up. I caught up to Jack Fletcher very, very quickly, and he undercut me. And the same happened to the medium runners at the start. I wasn't gaining a lot of them in the beginning, but midpoint of the race, I was gaining a lot. Peter Giordano versus Nate for the lead of the race, and it is a slam dunk DRS pass for the Ferrari driver. Now he just has to make up 16 seconds and just as many laps to try and secure this win. Let's see how he'll fare.
Maybe with his qualifying pace he could do that, but it's really hard to magic up the pace from these hard tires now. I mean, you do get really good degradation from them. You get pretty much identical lap times for 16 laps, but I don't think that'll be enough for Peter. He's going to be able to pull away, but I don't think he'll be able to do that much. Mac is not going to catch these two. I think with how much his tires are going to be degrading, he's not going to be able to catch up to these hard tire runners in time. He's 2 seconds back, and that's about right where he was last lap. And I just found it very hard to make these medium tires work, even straight out of the pits, because you still got to warm them up, and you're not that quick to catch up with the drivers ahead. And then all of a sudden, your fast medium tires, your fresh rubber, are no longer so fresh, and your advantage goes out the window, like we said.
One thing to know about tire degradation on F124, it's not like F123 where the tires will drop every lap of the stint, but then have this big cliff. It is consistent, and then you have a massive cliff. That's something a lot of people, with the state of the game being as it is, and the handling changing seemingly every other week, in a sense you don't really know, but especially the hard tires at low degradation circuits, they're like bricks, and that's been mentioned. They will not drop. The mediums will be very consistent for the first 6-7 laps and then start dropping fairly aggressively. But it is a consistent drop, not a measured drop from, let's say, 119 on the medium on lap 1 to 124 on the medium on lap 7. Another yellow flag down at the first sector. I don't think it was anything massive, but man in the box has lost a little bit of time to the cars around him. He's now 30 seconds back. As it stands, Peter Giordano will finish in a net PC, just for the maximum security. He will finish in a net 6th or 7th place, but the order can still be jumbled up dramatically thanks to the amount of penalties people still get. And I don't want to do more math in the middle of the Grand Prix, so I want to focus on how things are going.
Yeah, so let's actually go through the penalties now that we're on it. So, yeah, 16 seconds and the most for anyone so far as his teammate gets another one. Peter Giordano has got 16 seconds. That 10-second penalty really is going to mess him up. Although P4 has 9 seconds of penalties, so he might be safe from that. And Joel has 3 seconds. Spinini has 6 seconds. Then we go down to Chonk, who's got 3. Seti Marmot in the Haas, right behind Chonk actually. He's got 13 seconds. Same fate as Peter Giordano. Meanwhile, Rigref has 3. Slick Goku has 10. Combined has 3. Rage has 6. Logan, pretty much game over for him. He's got 12 seconds of penalties and he's 10 seconds behind the car in front of him. Florida, I was about to say he had 3 seconds, but now he has 6 seconds. So let's look back to the front. I mean, the battle for the front, you could say it's a battle. On track, it's a battle. Off track, it's nowhere near a battle. But Nadewell is going to take the lead once again from Peter. He was very far behind. I was not ready to commentate that pass for the lead, but he is there anyway. But Peter, without the DRS, is still very close to Williams. I thought he might have a challenge through into turn 1. But Mac is go on.
Sorry to interrupt, but Nate just doesn't have any battery. Peter on 60%, Nate down to 20. He was down to 7 or 8% when he made the overtake. So, tough times. Tough times for Nate as combined YouTuber gets past at least Red Panda. He will get past Red Panda heading onto the backstretch, and he'll get past Slick Goku, who has put his real name on the list today. Down the inside, Kaganis, that's not a corner you want to fire it up the inside from. I've done it, and I ate a bit of a concrete wall, so go and do it.
Yeah, meanwhile, so for P2 and P3, Mac just made a position on Nadewell. Peter actually got past Nadewell in that third chicane area, and I was very surprised. I was off my seat. But Nadewell has lost 2 positions in 1 lap, and that's not even ideal considering he has 1 more DRS straight to go. So no one behind him, but he lost plenty of time. And now Mac on his medium tires, who we said would be at a big disadvantage, seems to have all the advantage in the world and seems to be on course for a race win at the moment.
Yeah, another yellow. It's a Ferrari off at 4 with damage. And half of the front wing is gone for Logan. I think that's game over for him. That's surely game over. As he's going to get lapped. He goes off the track at turn 5, 6. Trying to do the Logan Sargent in 2023, but he gets his way out of there. But it's not been a good day for Logan at all. Spinning multiple times, and this last one was just the straw that I think broke the camel's back in the end.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's not taking anyone else out. But
better than DNFing, to be fair.
Yes, much better. So let's take a look at the front again. It's about the same. Does Mac have it in him for an overtake in the first corner? No, he doesn't. He's got a big DRS advantage. Peter's actually dropped lots of his battery. Nadewell also still at that low battery percentage. So Mac, it's definitely swung his way now. All the momentum has gone to him. It's just about what he can do now. Meanwhile, Chonk may be under fire from Seti Marmot here in the Haas with the DRS open down the inside wall of champions here, and he's made it very, very well. Neither of them going into the wall of champions. Meanwhile, Logan goes into the pits, and he is in the pits, replacing his front wing. He's decided to keep this one going. You still do get points for the bottom 10. We've revised our system a little bit, so we don't get points such as high as 35 points for the race win anymore. But we still do get points for the bottom 10. Meanwhile, Mac, I believe he's just set the fastest sector too, so interesting.
Okay, another yellow. It's Florida, turn 4. Spinning around, and he's well on the grass. Well, all the midfield comes around. He's recovered the car, and he's hit another wall trying to recover, and he's just reset to track.
I mean, if we said it's a bad race for Logan, it's been a horrendous one for Florida. I remember Prime Florida, we were racing together all the way back in F122, and he was quick. He was quick enough for Division 2. But, I mean, I wouldn't blame him for dropping off a little bit in this game. It seems everyone has. Meanwhile, Chonk makes it past Sutty Marmot. And yeah, these cars are meant to be faster, but really, they're just really flicky. And Sutty Marmot is going to actually challenge Chonk around the outside in turn 1. That was an easy move for not having DRS whatsoever. Great move from him. Nearly a switchback for the Mercedes. Doesn't get it though. So into the here.
Yellow, yellow. It's Slick Goku causing yellow at the final chicane. No damage done.
Let's go to the front here. We might have a change in lead here. Mac with the DRS. Not the battery though. He's not going to go for it. He actually turns off the DRS. He might want to size one up for turn 1. And it doesn't look like he has what it takes, but he's onto the battery, onto the DRS. Does he have it into turn 1? Mac going for the lead of the race and backs out of it at the last second. So we will continue on. Meanwhile, in the back, Goku, or no, that's actually Georgie and Joel Guron. They're close together. It looks like Joel might have had the move on Georgie done well before the second straight there.
Another hint of yellow flags from Rage spinning around at turn 2 as Chonk pass Sudsy Marmot again, and you do not go side by side into the final chicane, and that's the position for Chonk. T-Nell, the next driver to get a 3-second penalty. We currently have T-Mac, Nadewell, Man in the Box, Red Panda, Philip Troyer / Slick Goku, and J Street, who have not gotten any track limit penalties in this Grand Prix. However, Slick Goku has a pit lane speeding penalty, and we have a change of lead. T-Mac now leads the Canadian Grand Prix from Peter Giordano and Nadewell. See now. And another yellow flat, and another bit of a wall brush from Spanini out of the last chicane. Only a 5% battery, the Alpine driver. And as we see, there is not much going on. No overtaking in this particular minute, but get it later. Another yellow. Florida, turn 2.
Yeah, I'm just watching for these yellow flags now because the more you think about it, if one safety car happens, you got someone like Man in the Box, P10 out of it pretty much, right? He's not going to be making any positions whatsoever. You bring in a safety car and he's in the podium. With all these penalties, he could be on the podium with a safety car. So that is just how much these penalties matter. He's one of the few people that we just named without a penalty, but he's even going to get one position off of his teammate right now, as we have another change in lead. They nearly go side by side through that chicane, which we've already established you do not do around here. But Max still kind of chasing down. Peter's recharged the battery a little bit in the DRS, and Mac is now behind him once again.
It's a game of who has to regroup and who has to recharge. Rigraph, the next driver to be on the 6 seconds penalties book, but as I've said, the plan is for someone in the lead on hard tires which are faster than the medium. If you lose the lead to a medium runner or a slower tire, you stay behind it for a few laps if you're a low battery and recharge that battery. So in order to mount a powerful attack on the last laps, because that guy on the medium, in this case Mac, doesn't have a lot of battery. He's only at 40%, and Peter Giordano is on 60. And if you're Peter, you recharge the battery to full, wait for the last 2 laps, and then just burn the living daylights out of it because you have all the power in the world. Let's see. Onto the back straight with DRS. Both drivers on the same deployment mode, heading into the final chicane. T-Mac retakes the lead off the Grand Prix, but he doesn't get the best drive. It might invite Peter Giordano, but Mac burning his battery, and now invite Nadewell into the thick of it. Side by side to turn 1, turns into the Williams for turn 2, but Peter gonna have the long line on the outside, and he has held the position. They're not going to go side by side in a turn 3, as that is just going to be grounds for death, and Peter Giordano's only lost 1 place so far. Great bit of racing from Nade and Peter.
Yeah, I mean, Mac recharged the battery so quickly in that 1 lap. He recharged like 27% in 1 lap, so that is huge for him. And now Peter's already trying to attack him again. I think Peter is definitely the faster driver, but you know, with all the penalties he had, he's not going to be able to make too much out of it. But Nadewell is another man in contention for even the win. If something happens between the front 2, he also doesn't have any penalties, so he could be in contention for the win just as much as Mac is right now, so that is something to note. Meanwhile, Peter's going to probably re-overtake the Alpine here. He's got to run. I think he's actually going to hold it back a little bit, but if he gets an attack into turn 1, this is where we can see magic stuff happen. But something I've noticed is that Nadewell always kind of hops on the battery for a little bit when he's really close behind these two fighting, just so he can do what he did a lap ago now, and just try and pick up the pieces on the driver in second place.
Yeah, it's all a game of who can manage the ERS the best. It's nothing too crazy, but compared to F123, you only had low or overtake. You couldn't you did have an option to recharge, you just had to really stay in the DRS of other cars, and I think that cost me a lot on F123, but this year the ERS has been completely redone, and you actually have full control over it. Peter Giordano, 4 laps to go, he's on a full battery. Mac on the medium is burning to stay in the lead, but that will, I think, prove futile because Peter is only 3 tenths behind him on the superior tire. This is that part of the race where Peter Giordano now slams his foot on the loud pedal, DRS, overtake, and slipstream, and he is back in the lead as Sudsy Marmot has spun around at turn 5, and he is and thankfully he's ghosted, because that could have been a monumental pileup.
Yes, it could have, and something to note is just when Peter was going for that move, he had 100% of his battery. Like, that is a big difference from F123. You would have had nothing having battled for so long, but now, still with 81%, Peter Giordano is probably going to take this race win on track, but he has got so many positions to be losing right now. I mean, there is a chance that he stays on the podium if he gaps Jolgaron by about 2.5 more seconds, but you think about how rare that is, and I really say it's unlikely. Now that Spanini and Georgie have 9 seconds each, I'd say Peter is still in good top 5 contention here.
Yeah, for sure. Remember, Spanini and Giorgio have 12 and 9 seconds respectively. That's going to be a for sure top 5 for Peter.
And even more so as Spanini had a big moment out of that chicane and nearly flew into the wall, so it is pretty much secured top 5. It is secured top 5 for Peter Giordano. It's just whether he can keep this podium or not. We know he's not going to win it. We know he's not going to be P2, so it's whether he's P3 or P4. Or he crashes into a wall and he's out, but I don't know.
You never know. 2 laps to go. He still has to go around the final chicane twice. And the curbs are fairly vicious, or he could get stuck behind a lap car and get Jos Verstappen out of the race.
That might be exactly what happens here. I mean, he's going to try to get the DRS from that lap car, but he's not going to be so gifted from the Red Bull driver. We have another yellow flag, but that's just Rage getting out of the way. There is another lap car ahead, but he's too far behind to get the DRS from it. So I think it's just time for Mac to play the smart game and stay behind Peter, not do anything too fancy, and just take the race win and go home and have a beer or something. But the thing is, Peter still got it all to fight for, so if Mac decides to still go for this, Peter is going to slam all the doors in his face as Chonk gets another time penalty. I have no idea where he is anymore. He's P6. But
you mean
here
P8?
we go. Yeah, P8. and on to the final lap. Here we go.
Last lap for Peter Giordano. Top two with similar battery levels. Nade down to 30%. We'll see the winner of this race. We can say that much. It won't be Peter Giordano at all, but will he drop everything he has and go for the push lap of the push laps? He's up all of his remaining battery, maybe catch the slipstream of a lap car and try and get something. Spanini, 12 seconds of time penalties. We have a yellow in the final sector. That's Rigraph done for the day. And Peter Giordano will get DRS from the lap car. I think that is J Street. So that, I think, has put any doubts to whoever the potential race winner will be if we only counted the results on the road. DRS for Peter Giordano. He now has 1.2 kilometers of flat out running to win the Canadian Grand Prix on the road. He's been out of the F1 game scene and out of ZRL racing competitively for over a year and a half, but he wins on the road here in Montreal. But it is Mac and Nade who will pip him to first and second, as Joel Guron is going to miss out on the final step of the podium. And it is confirmed he will miss out. Giorgio and Spanini in the end finish 5th and 6th. That will probably be 6th and 7th as Tino comes across the line, finishes ahead of them since he only had, I think, 3 seconds of time penalty. Next across the line, Chonk in a bit of a disappointing outing for Mercedes. Chonk down in 8th place with 6 seconds of penalties, but that I think will turn into a P9. And Man in the Box finishes 9th on the road. He finishes 8th on the track. Combined YouTuber, a disappointing one for him, down in 10th. Rigraph crossing the line in 11th. Sudsy Marmot with a crazy spin at turn 5, down in 12th, but that will be, I think, 14th as things stand. And that concludes your Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah, I mean, not quite a thriller, but we did have some action. So we saw the return of Peter Giordano, something nearly equivalent to the return of Jesus. And, you know, it could have been very, very amazing, just as the previous event. But unfortunately, 16 seconds of penalty will lose you a race, no matter who you are. So here we go. Mac wins it with Nadewell right behind him. Then Peter Giordano goes P3, Jolger on P4, T-Nell P5, Giorgio P6, decent on his first race here. Then Spanini P7, Man in the Box P8, good points for Haas as well with the 2 Mercedes, who kind of came out of nowhere, going from P14 and P15 to P9 and P10. That's not horrible, except for Mercedes it can be. And then we have Rigraph P11, Luke P12, Slick Goku P13, Sudsy Marmot in P14 had a spin earlier. And then we got J Street P15, Rage P16, Logan P17, and Florida P18. So that is your order for the race. We'll get some interviews going very, very shortly. I will stop streaming on Discord, but I will not stop streaming here, don't worry. So let's get our fellas in here. Peter Giordano is going to be in the booth for the first time in what seems like forever. So we got Mac, Nadewell, and Peter. Mac, is that Kamari Mac in Discord? I believe it.
No, it's a different one.
Is it just Mac?
Yeah.
Alright, sounds good. And then, of course, Nadewell. So, let's get our good old fella in. So, for the first time in forever for Ferrari, the team he left and the team he came back to join, Peter Giordano, finishes 3rd. Welcome, Peter, to the booth. I thought it was the last time you'd be here so long ago that then you came back. So welcome back.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, talk us through your race.
Oh, God. The quality was good. Q1 went... I don't know, I had a great lap Q1. Q2 was fine. Then Q3, I kind of got a little bit screwed by Logan because he went into the pits right before me. So I didn't get to do a 3rd lap, but it was still good off for pole, which is good. first half of the lap, first half of the race was just a stinker. I got like 6 seconds of penalties within the first 7 laps or something, and then I got a 10 second for speeding the pit lane, and then I spun. But after that, I cleaned it up. I brushed off the rust, and I'm really honestly very happy to have saved this podium because I think a win was definitely in the cards today if I didn't make even one of those mistakes.
Absolutely. Magnuson, any questions?
What happened? What was the motive behind your battery management with everything that went on with the new game and you not being you not having played the game for quite a while? How did you adapt to the new game with everything going on?
So I mean, when they first released the game and I saw the handling model, played a little bit, and I was like, damn, this is trash. So I stopped playing, and I heard they changed it, and I actually didn't mind it. It felt pretty. I don't know. It felt pretty good to me. The battery, I don't know. The way I was just managing it was, I had a lot. I think at least, I had a lot higher downforce than the people around me. So they were really just able to stick in my DRS, and I was using a little bit to defend, but really only on the main straight because that was pretty much the only place I had to. And then if they passed me, I just felt like I had so much more speed, especially since I had DRS, that I was using no battery when I was behind them. So I saved up to use it to defend when I got passed again. But I really don't really go out of medium. I don't really play with the modes too much.
Don't blame me, given you haven't played the game for so long.
Yeah, I can't be bothered, to be honest.
Yeah, all right. Well, welcome back, Peter. I just do have one more question. How long can we expect you to stay around?
Oof. Only a couple weeks, because my family decided we're actually going to go on a trip, so I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, and then
will you be back?
yeah, and then I'm going to college, and I don't think I'm going to be bringing my setup, so I'll definitely do these next 2 races. After that, you might not see me, but I'll race occasionally. You know, if I decide to bring my setup to school, or whenever I'm back for some sort of break, I might reserve or something. And next summer, I'll definitely try to race full time.
All right. Well, you heard it first here. So thank you, Peter. Congrats on your podium, and have a good night, man.
Thanks, you too. Good to talk to you guys again.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. So next up is Mr. Nadewell, P2. Congratulations. How do you feel about your race?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I expected good things, and I got good things, so I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah.
Yeah, very, very good. You almost had the win. I mean, 4/10 away from the win. It only was the fact that Mac had DRS that could have really messed up your chances to win, but you were close. So, yeah, I mean, following these top three here, I mean, Peter with 16 seconds of penalties. I mean, what was your approach to that?
Well, I mean, having 60 seconds penalties in the ideal, and obviously, when you're behind, when you're in front of it, and you see the car that is faster than you, and it has 16 seconds of penalties, you're like, I mean, I can let him pass, get the arrest, and then just go cruising in the race. But yeah, it was a really good fight between the three of us. Mac has had amazing tires at the end, and I just couldn't get the advantage the hearts gave me. So props to Mac. And yeah, Peter also were like really good. Unfortunately, those 16 seconds cost them in the end. But between the three of us, the racing was amazing.
Yes, well,
Hey,
go on.
no problem. At least you enjoyed it, hopefully. Fun race up at the front, eh?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Um, yeah, thanks to Frank's engineering and everything, it helped me through a lot. Um, too. He helped me decide if overtake no, push pro no, or all that stuff. So yeah, it was a really fun race.
Yeah. Congratulations, and yeah, have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night too.
To you.
Alright, and last up, our race winner. He's waited plenty a long time. And here he is. Big Mac as a reserve driver winning a race. So congratulations. How was it?
That was a sweat fest, and I loved it.
Sure was.
Got some practice yesterday from the D1 race, so I would probably attribute that.
Yeah, I mean, do you think you could have had Peter if even if he didn't have all those penalties, or what was your approach to the whole thing?
It would have been close. I would like to think I'd have him. Once I saw that 10-second, definitely was like, okay, as long as I stay within that, I'm managing my tires and making it to the end on these mediums, because I think I boxed probably a lap or two early.
Fair enough. Magnuson, any questions?
No, not really. Just I wanted to say congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, I mean, so we got you as a reserve here. Given that someone doesn't attend next week, could we expect to see you maybe on the podium next week too, or what's your plan here?
Yeah, that's the plan. Reserve as many races, rack up the points, make a case for some TPs to pick me.
Very, very true. All right, well, good plan and good performance here tonight. Congratulations on your win, sir, and have a good night.
You too, thank you.
All right, ladies and gents, that has been your Canadian Grand Prix in Division 2. It's been a pleasure commentating with Magnus Cube here tonight. We had plenty of fun, and yeah, if you did like the content, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, just get out of here, and have a good night, fellas.
Have a good night. See you next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And until then, enjoy the rest of your week, and goodbye.